Hey guys, and welcome in to a different type of video. So we are going to be doing a tier list today. I'm going to be doing two tiers. I'm going to be doing a comprehensive talk about each of these shows or each of these serials and stuff like that. And we are going to be looking at, for the first one, TV shows. So without further ado, let's start this tier list. So as you can see, we have a pretty comprehensive list of, TV shows, pretty popular shows, and we have different categories. So normally with tier lists, they're in S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, E tier, F tier, all that stuff, right? But with this, you got to put this in a little bit different. So you guys can already see where this is going. So without further ado, let's start. So with the first TV show, we are talking about Adventure Time.
We're skeletons. We've got to be really quiet.
Yeah, this is gonna go into God tier for me. I think Adventure Time, personally, to me, is a very complex show. Even though it was airing on Cartoon Network, I think that this show has potential to be impactful to even to adults now. Not just people who grew up with the show, but people who just starting the show. Like, you don't have to be a kid to watch this show, and that's what I think separates this, because it touches on a lot of topics. And yes, it still has a lot of childish, moments, but once you get past like the first 3 seasons or something like that, I think it's like seasons 4 through 6. I don't remember how many seasons it ran through. It gets super complicated super quickly. Like, I don't know how, as a kid, how I kept up with this stuff. Like, if you haven't watched Adventure Time, I would recommend watching it. It's pretty funny, it's pretty stupid, and it's pretty childish for the most part, but it can get very profound and does deal with a lot of difficult topics. So for right now, I'm gonna say that Adventure Time is God tier. That was just my first thought. Now, Amanda, I've never seen. I'm trying to see what that is. Yeah, Mac. I think that was on Disney Channel, if I'm not mistaken. I think I did watch one episode and I didn't like it, so I'm just gonna put that in bad. But honestly, I'm gonna move that to the never seen. I don't know. Angry Beaver. This is bad. I remember I've watched a fair few episodes of that when it came out. I didn't like it too much. Never seen this one. Okay, but Austin and Ally, I have actually watched that. I thought it was actually okay-ish, but I will say that this is meh though. The next show, I'm gonna say that is definitely in the God tier, bro. If you do not put Avatar in God tier, what are you doing with yourself? If you're gonna base a show off of like anime and like ridiculous concepts like of firebending, waterbending, and all that stuff that are like kind of childish concepts, this is how you do a show. Because like every character in the show, I have personally enjoyed. Like, there wasn't really a character that I was like, gosh, this character stayed. I think Zuko is probably my favorite character from this, just because, like, I know normally whenever the bad guy turns into the good guy's best friend, it's like really stupid and it's really like not well done. This, they did that perfectly. This is how you make the villain into like the good guy's friend or ally or something. Like, they did this right. They give him a good motivation, a good backstory, and they did it over time. They didn't do it all at once. They did it over time, and it's like you could understand why he did it. This is a show that should be going into God tier for everyone. Back at the Barnyard.
If she's got a tiny boy.
Okay, so I remember the movie. I actually liked the movie, but the actual show, I'm gonna put into meh. Oh wait, no, into meh. Like, I didn't think it was special. I didn't think it was on the level of these two, but I thought it was good. So next we have Ben 10, and I'm gonna put this in nice tier. But honestly, I do remember some few scenes of the show. I think if this is the one I'm thinking about, then this is the one where he's like, you treat your women like you treat your car or something like that, and he makes like a line about it, and then the woman's like, or the girl right in front of him is like, what do you mean by that? And he's like, he just goes quiet. He just doesn't answer it.
Look, Gwen, you have to treat a car like you treat a woman.
Go on.
No, I sense I've made a mistake of some kind.
I thought that was pretty funny. The show was nice. I did enjoy watching it. Do I think it was great? No. Do I think it was God tier? Hell no. But do I think it was a good show that anyone could basically watch and, turn off your brain for a little bit as a kid? Yeah, I liked it. I actually can't read the title of this one, so I'm gonna put this in the I've never seen. I don't know, just for Big Time Rush. So I personally enjoyed Big Time Rush. I thought this show was nice. I don't know if I could put it into great, other than the fact that I really enjoyed Big Time Rush as like an actual like pop group. So I will say that that's nice tier. Race Face. Gosh, this is already in what the fuck. I'm not even gonna bother with like putting that. Never seen. I don't know. I know that's gotta be in that tier. Breadwinners is definitely in that tier. Holy cow. Bunked. I do remember that was bad, and it lasted like maybe 3 seasons, I think. So I thought that was bad. Cat Dog. Do I put this in nice or great? Dude, Cat Dog. I'm gonna put it in nice just because I haven't watched the whole series. I've just watched enough to say I can think it's really good. Actually, you know what? I'm talking myself into this. I'm gonna put it into great. Whenever I was watching it, I had a blast of a time of enjoying this show. Cat Dog, I will say that definitely was one of the more interesting shows, because I mean, if you attach a cat to a dog, I mean, you're gonna get chaos regardless. So I will say that Cat Dog is one of those shows that I would put up into the great. It's not God tier because these two definitely stand out from Cat Dog. These two are definitely on another tier than Cat Dog. Clarence, okay, I'm gonna be honest. I'm torn between these two. I'm gonna put it in meh because I personally didn't enjoy it, but it did last a little bit. I did watch a few episodes, but for the most part, I'm gonna say that that's gonna be into the meh tier. Go into that. Courage the Cowardly Dog goes into God tier. That's not even a debate for me. This show still has its moments now that gets me. This show, I have no clue how this was a kids TV show, why they approved of this. Holy crap, they could go from 0 to 100 really quick. Like King Ramses was really weird. Courage had a dream where it's like an unborn fetus looking thing. This show was so weird, but it was so good at the same time. And I would say there's so many scenes with this where it's like it gets you on edge. You're like nervous for him, and it's like they'll somehow either subvert it or equal it out into the actual what you think it's gonna be. So I will say Courage is God tier, bro. Especially, I think the favorite episode I have is whenever they have the space squids. It's like the last of the stars or something like that. And I'll have my editor put up the title right now. But that episode, man, that gets me now, man. That got me pretty good. I went back to watch that, and I thought that was pretty, pretty interesting to watch. So I would say that it goes into God tier. That is definitely on the tier above from Cat Dog. Now for this show, I'm gonna put this in the WTF. I do remember Franklin. I do remember that show really, really was bad. I did not like that show. But Danny Phantom, however, however, deserves to go into great tier. I think it was really nice. I personally enjoyed it. I do remember they had a great relationships with the characters. All the main characters were really funny or really had good chemistry with each other, or both. I will say that this goes into great tier. I'm not yet gonna put it into God tier. Maybe depending on other ones, I might adjust some of these. So like I can already tell I'm gonna put this back down to meh. So for now, that's gonna stay in great tier, but it has the potential to move up or down depending on what goes in it. Dexter's Laboratory, I'm gonna go in meh. My gut instinct was to say meh. This is gonna definitely go into never seen, I don't know, but the dog is cute on the image, so I'm sure that dog must have been. If that was the internet dog, Dog with a Blog. I do remember this one. Okay, yeah, this one goes into bad. Drake and Josh. Ooh. I'm gonna put this in the nice. I was tempted for a second to put it in the meh. This show is not nearly as good as people remember it to be. I don't think this show is actually that great. Like again, I know that there's like a meme where it's like I think we forgot something like that. That's still funny to watch, but like I don't think that this show is actually as great as I remember. So I'm gonna put that into nice tier. Now, Ed, and Eddie.
I am a zombie, and I will malice you with a shoehorn.
Malice me with a shoehorn?
Also goes into nice, but that show is so funny. I will say that that is, of all the nice ones, that is probably the best of them. Like that's the closest to nice tier, or that's the closest to great tier that you can get for these ones. I might bump it up, but holy cow, I do remember having a hilarious time watching that show. I think it is also what hurts it as well, is it's a little bit too weird at times. I think it's gonna stay in nice tier with a potential to move in between or something like that. Ooh, Fairly Odd Parents. I'm gonna put this. I'm tempted. I know it's one of these two tiers. My gut is telling me nice, but I think I'm gonna put it into great. Because it's just, I mean, it's so iconic, you know. Like I really enjoyed it. Dinkelberg, I still randomly say that at random times whenever someone at work is like, "Who did this?" Dinkelberg. It's so funny. Crocker is pretty funny in the show. Timmy can have his moments where he's really funny, but I think overall this show it's really fun to watch. This is definitely in a great tier. I think it's safe to put this in a great tier. I think I'm also gonna move Ed and Eddie up there. This show, I remember having a good time watching it then, but I don't think it was that great now. Actually, I'm gonna bump that up to meh, but I think it probably does deserve to be into bad tier. It is probably WTF, but I'm gonna put it into bad, just for the fact that it had a gag one time that it made me laugh. But for the most part, this show was bad. This show, however, fosters some for imaginary kids. That's gonna go into nice. I was for a millisecond tempted to put into great. I don't think it's on the level of these shows. This show probably has like one of the more iconic, you know, setups. Like I can remember all these characters, maybe not their names, but I do remember the characters. It was a good show. I do think it was great. This one just goes into, I haven't seen many episodes of it, but I'm gonna put it into bad. Good Luck Charlie, I'm gonna put that into bad. I don't think that was actually as good as it was. This, however, was freaking amazing. I think Gravity Falls is definitely with these ones. I will say that this show really, you know, it still stands in my mind. I can still remember, you know, Stan's brother Ford. I can still remember the Piglet. I can still remember Wendy. I can still remember Zeus with Blanchard, straight Blanchard. That was pretty funny.
I'm a Blanchard, Zoe Blanchard. I live up in the mansion.
Definitely remember Dipper and Mabel and Grunkle Stan. I remember all this stuff. Gideon. I remember obviously the triangle guy, Bill Cipher. I remember everything about this show. This show is just so good, man. It's a good show, and it's so much backstory in the 2 seasons that they have. Hannah Montana. I'm gonna put this in a meh tier just for the fact that I personally didn't enjoy it that much. I never got to rave about that show. Harvey Beaks gonna goes into bad. Henry Danger is gonna go into nice. They did a good job with the show, and I think while they did, you know, kind of mess up for a little bit of portion, I remember there was like later in the seasons that they kind of messed up. I do remember hearing about that. I do think that this one does go into nice, despite that. I pleasantly enjoyed Kid Danger a lot, so I think that this show deserves its nice. I think it deserves its props. Hey Arnold. Ooh. I'm gonna put this in nice just for the Vietnam episode, for the episode where the guy finds his daughter after so many years or something like that. That episode alone, the fact that they did that in a kids show really sets it apart for me. I think that this show is very nice just for that episode, but I do remember watching a few other episodes and really enjoying myself watching it as a kid, so I'm gonna put that into that tier. iCarly, do I want to put it into God or great tier? Honestly, do I really want to put it into God tier? You know, I'm gonna put it into God tier. I think it's up there. It's one of these two. It's not nice or meh. It's definitely one of God tier or great tier. This show is just super funny. You know the scene where they're trying to prank Spencer, and he keeps like outsmarting them, and then they're like trying to have Gibby fall on him, but they show like a scene where Gibby falls straight from the ceiling. Yeah, that stunt was real. That stunt was a real stunt. This show is that scene alone and that episode alone puts it into God tier. Invader Zim.
Why is his head so big? Why is his head so big?
It's gonna go into great. This show, this is another one that's along the lines of Courage the Cowardly Dog. How the hell they got away with this was just insane, because I remember there was an episode where Zim is trying to become human, and so he just eats everyone's organs, and so he has like I think he mentions he has like 8 kidneys or something like that, and it was just really funny. All right, so next show is gonna be Jesse. RIP to Cameron, but I'm gonna be honest, this is gonna go into meh. Jimmy Neutron is gonna go into great tier because of the fact that every character you can have like a memorable moment for. You can say every character is memorable. I think my personal favorite episode was probably the episode where they're having a sleepover and they're trying to fight the pizzas. I remember I did have a funny time watching that. I think that great tier is fair enough for Jimmy Neutron. Every character was funny. There was a lot of good episodes, a little bit weird. I do remember there was like a meme where it's like, no dude, I'm your higher up. I'll leave a link to that in the description.
A double McSpanky with fries and a florp. That'll be $6.53. And $3.47's your change.
Dude, you're supposed to press the buttons with pictures of food on them.
Don't need to, Skeet. I memorized the prices and did the tax and change in my head.
No, dude. I'm your higher up, and what I say goes.
But that was really funny as well for me. All right, Johnny Bravo? Yeah, that's gonna go into meh. I'm tempted to put into bad. I didn't enjoy Johnny Bravo. I thought he was a little bit too cocky as a character. I know that's part of who he was, so I'm gonna put him into meh. I'm gonna put Johnny Test into nice. I think this show was really funny. I remember the dog and Johnny were a good duo. I remember the two sisters being smart was funny. I mean, I hate that it's forgotten. I think it was definitely better than all of these shows. So I think that this is fair to put it into nice. Is this the one with Zendaya and Bella Thorne? Oh God, I remember this was bad, but I do remember thinking that they were hot as hell. Yeah, I do remember this show wasn't that good. Kick Buttowski. I'm gonna put this in a great. I wish they came back with more episodes of the show, but because I do remember this is one of those that I would actually like, because I remember being in Dallas with my uncle and I would stay up till like 7 a.m. just so I could watch the first episode that they would premiere. This show, I would say it's pretty relatable. It's pretty cool that the protagonist is a badass. I do like that, but I don't think it's good enough to go into God tier. But I do think it was pretty good. Now, kicking it, I'm gonna put that in the nice, but just know I think it was pretty good. Really, like, not nice good, but pretty good in between like great and nice, but it's not good enough to go into great. I would say kicking it, I definitely enjoyed that show. I remember they had like a funny character who was like the weakest guy, but he ended up turning into like a black belt or something like that. I would say it's not nice, but it's not great. You know what I mean? So it's in that area in between. However, this show is in God tier. I can't talk enough about Kim Possible, how good this show was. I think it's as good as Avatar, Gravity Falls, The Chowder? No, but I think it's actually better than Adventure Time and iCarly. I think you can definitely watch this show now and still enjoy it. But I think that the best two big characters are obviously Shigo and Kim Possible, because I mean, like, they're just so badasses. They're leading their, sidekicks essentially, who are just idiots dudes, which is kind of the flip on the normal stereotype that was taken around this time. Normally the dude is the baddest, so like Danny Phantom is like a good example of that. And it's like they'll have like a sidekick that's the girl, and it's like the fact that the main characters and the main protagonist and antagonist were both feminine and they were both strong in their own right really is nice for me. It doesn't hurt that she goes hot as hell, but yeah, I think that this show is definitely in God tier. Kung Fu Panda Legends of Awesomeness.
A big, fat panda who treats it like a joke.
Oh, that is it.
Is a forgotten classic. I'm gonna put it into great. I love this show. I remember this show was really funny. It continued, how great the Kung Fu Panda series was. I do remember watching it a fair few bit. But I will say that the best episode for the show, if you guys want to get into the show, is whenever he talks to Tai Lung's nephew or something like that, and they reveal it at the end that he's Tai Lung's nephew. I thought that was great because the Tai Lung's nephew was nice and he was just looking for Tai Lung, and then Po, obviously knowing that he killed Tai Lung, was nice. So I'm gonna put that in the great tier. That Lab Rats, I do remember this show being hailed as nice, and I remember watching it every once in a while. But do I think that it deserves to be in the great tier? No. But do I remember watching it and enjoying it? Yeah, I remember that. I don't remember too much about it, but I do remember it was viewed as one of the best. Liv and Maddie, I'm gonna put that into bad because I do remember watching an episode of that and I hated the two characters. So like everything that Kim Possible did, this show did the opposite of. What the hell is that? Lizzie McGurk. I do remember watching an episode and thinking it was bad. Loud House, I'm gonna go into meh because I do know it's still going right now, and I do remember I watched an episode and I was like, you know what? This is not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. It is not that great. My Life as a Teenage Robot is nice. I am gonna stand by the show to the day I die. I think that this was a good show. I think that they should have done more seasons. I hated the fact that they did it to Nicktoons because I thought that this is a great show. If you want to watch it, you know what? I'm gonna put this in the great. I think that the show should have been going a lot longer than it did. It's not god tier because they don't have more seasons. It could be bumped down to nice or mid depending on if there were more seasons. But I think that's gonna end how it did. I'm gonna put it into great just for how good it was. So I think that was nice. Nikki, Ricky, Dickie, and Dawn. I'm gonna put that into what the fuck because I remember watching that. I was just like, God, this sucks. I do remember watching an episode of that. Peppa Pig. I'm gonna put that in the what the fuck tier. I know it's a Nick Jr. show, but if you look up how tall Peppa Pig is, yeah, you're kind of gonna be surprised. Yeah, she's like what, 10 feet tall or something like that. What? What the fuck? Phineas and Ferb. Do I put it into god tier or great? I'm gonna put it into god tier. I'm gonna do it. Every character was great except for not Raina. What was her name? What you doing? Isabella. I didn't like Isabella that much, but I thought everyone else was great. Buford. What was the Indian kid's name? I remember something like I don't want to say like a Paul or something like that because I know that's like Simpsons. But it's something along that lines. I remember he was pretty funny because he would just get bullied. I remember the Across the Second Dimension movie was amazing. Perry is great. Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated is God's here. Like that's this show, man. Like you really can't, give this show its props enough. I think that's when the sign of a God tier show is. Penguins of Madagascar, also into great tier, but not God tier yet. I think that this show is great, but not God tier. But yeah, I would say the show, it captured the Penguins of Madagascar in a fun and entertaining way. So I like this show. I think it was great. Planet Sheen was so bad. Powerpuff Girls is gonna go into nice. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it into nice. I think that this show, I do think that the Powerpuff Girls got annoying every once in a while. But I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll say the show overall as a whole was nice. The doctor was pretty funny, or the dad doctor was pretty funny. The monkey was obviously kind of funny. I did enjoy myself watching this show. As a little kid, I did enjoy watching the Powerpuff Girls every once in a while, but do I think it was on the level of these shows? Hell no. Rabbids Invasion was bad. I hated the Rabbids. However, this show, I'm gonna put this into God show or into God tier. Regular show deserves to be in this God tier. Holy crap, this show is so funny. I know it says regular show, but like you can remember very specific scenes if you watched the show growing up. Like I can remember the scene where Muscle Man gets his like picture taken with the hammer. He's like, "Oh crap, it's the hammer!" And he tries to get a picture with him, and he's like gets his head hit, and his like moves hit him right in the face. He's like, "Oh no, bro!
It's the hammer! He's real! Dudes, take my picture! Oh no, bro!"
Like there's so many episodes that I could just remember off the top of my head. Skips' backstory was phenomenal. That movie that they did, or that like was it 30-minute episode that they did instead of 15, that was phenomenal. And then I remember the series finale. That was the perfect series finale. But I will say that regular show is in God tier. It belongs with the upper echelon of all these shows. It's so funny. It's so great. Rugrats, I'm gonna put that in W2F. No, not even bad. WTF. I hate Rugrats. I'm just gonna go on a rant for a second. This is the worst show on television. This is the bottom of this list. All these other shows I would rather watch than watch Rugrats. Rugrats is the most annoying show that I have ever freaking seen. This is the dumbest show that I have ever freaking seen. This show is so dumb that I hate people when they say, "Oh, this is a great show." No, this show sucks. These characters are all garbage. Why would you ever want to watch this show? This show just pisses me off whenever I talk about it. I hate the show with a passion. I hate how these characters are so annoying and so stupid. I know that they're babies, but fuck them kids, honestly. I hate these kids. These kids make me want to kill myself every single time I watch this show. It makes me want to rip my hair out and like feed it to like an animal that eats it and poops out and then eat the poop. This show sucks. I hate this show with a passion. This is the worst show on television on this list, and it is gonna go into last. Whew. Oh, Sam and Cat. I do remember this one being entertaining. I'm gonna put this in a med though because I don't remember too much about it. Oh, SpongeBob obviously is gonna go into God tier. Here, I'm just moving this up. SpongeBob is obviously gonna go into God tier. This show, it has great moments. Band Geeks is great. The Strangler, that's probably like the best example of a newer episode still being hilarious as hell. The Strangler episode is so great. Chocolate Bars, that's great. I think season 1 is not as good as people remember it. I think there are still like a few episodes, but for the most part, I think season 2 is when it really like sets in for me. I will say that Living Like Larry is hilarious. Living Like Larry, and he pauses in midair and then he continues on like zooming in like superheroes, funny as hell.
Living like Larry, living like Larry, living like Larry,
Living like Larry.
living like Larry, living like Larry, living like Larry, living like Larry.
But there are scenes in this show or episodes in the show that will stand the test of the time no matter what season they're in. They're so good sometimes, man. The Claw episode was hilarious as hell. That's the one that you get like the certified hood classic meme. I'll have my editor put that in now. But yeah, there's like so many good scenes from it. I swear there's a meme for every single situation from SpongeBob, and when I say that, I kid you not, I'll have my editor put like a compilation of memes in the background for this, like when I'm talking about this. But I kid you not, I've seen memes for essentially every situation. I remember that like seeing YouTube poops of SpongeBob is one of the funniest things ever because it's so good. I remember the Sailor Mouth was hilarious as hell. The Panty Raid episode.
You're gonna miss the
Panty Raid. The Panty Raid. You're talking about girls, right? Oh yeah. And you're talking about breaking into their home and filtering their drawers or their underwear.
Oh
yeah. Well, you boys are just cooler than I thought. I was just like, bruh. It's like I remember watching the episode and just being like, what the hell am I watching? But it was still funny as hell. And then I remember it's like, I don't think you remember the old handshake. It's like, or it's like, let's see if he knows the secret cool guy handshake. And he's like, well, I'm waiting. Old man. How do you do? All right, you're in, but I'm not happy. It's like there's so many good scenes and episodes of this movie or with the show. It deserves it to be in God tier. Honestly, it could have a case to be in beyond God tier. But I think that is definitely a God tier show. Star versus the Forces of Evil. I'm actually gonna put into nice. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna put it into nice here. Now, do I think it ended great? No, but I do remember actually watching that as like a 14-year-old kid. I actually did watch the show when it came out. I watched the 4th season that they had. I think that the show was actually pretty great. Steven Universe, I can understand why people like it, but I'm gonna put it into nice. It's not great or God tier. The only issue I had with it is the fact that there were so many filler episodes. But the episodes that are really, really good, they're really, really, really good. Like those episodes could possibly make it go to God tier. I can see the argument just based on those episodes alone. I could definitely see an argument for putting in great, but I'm gonna put it in nice because I personally don't like the lengthy episodes. I don't like how there's like 4 seasons and there's like 75 episodes a season. But I'll say that this show is nice. Teen Titans the original. I'm actually, you know what? I'm gonna put this in a nice, even though I didn't watch enough of it. And I'll explain why. Because the episodes I did watch, I thoroughly enjoyed. This show, was nice. I will say that this series should have gone longer than it did. I wish they would stop besmirching it with Teen Titans Go, but I like how they did this series. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is gonna go into meh. That's So Raven is gonna go into nice, even though I didn't watch it too much. But I do remember when I watched it on Disney, I do remember I did actually enjoy myself watching it. Amazing World Gumball, I'm gonna put into. I wanted to say I'm gonna put it into God tier, but it's just not on the levels of those ones. I think Amazing World of Gumball deserves to be in great tier. I think this show is great, man. I love this show, man. I think as I'm talking about it, I'm tempted to put it in God tier. But I will say that this show really, handled some deep topics, but it was also pretty funny. This show has some great memories. The paintball episode was great. This show is great, man. The Thundermans is gonna go into meh. But Total Drama, oh my god, this is gonna go into god tier for me. I love every season of Total Drama, I'll say that, except for All Stars, which is funny enough because everyone hates the last one, and that's why it got canceled for a little bit. Total Drama is gonna go into god tier for me. I remember watching Island and like the reruns of Island when it first came out on like Nicktoons or something like that with my brother, and then we would watch Action, we watched World Tour. I think that was the one we watched least, and that was actually the best one. I rewatched that like a few months ago. That was actually the best one. This show deserves to be a god tier. I remember every season and almost every episode of the show. So I'll keep that there. Tough Puppy, I'm actually gonna put it into great. I'm not gonna lie. I watched this lately, bro. This show was still funny. I remember this show being funny as hell whenever I first watched it. I remember the rat that they had. I don't remember his name, but the crazy rat who was allergic to cheese. That was a funny gag. I mean, like, this show was great, man. I thoroughly enjoyed the show. Is this Victorious? I'm gonna put that into nice as well. I don't think I can put it into great, even though I do understand why you could put it into great. But I will say that Victorious was a very good show. I love the crossover that they did. Actually, I'm talking about it now. I'm gonna put this in the great tier. I think that's a fair ranking for it. I personally enjoyed it a ton. We Bare Bears is gonna go into nice. The theme song was great. Ice Bear was always hilarious to watch. Ice Bear was always hilarious to watch. The Baby Bear, We Baby Bears, or whatever the hell it's called, We Baby Bear Bears or something like that. I think that benefits from not being related to that at all. Even though Ice Bear and Panda and all them are pretty funny. The funny thing is Panda's like really relatable because he's looking for like love and stuff, and he's always like screwed over. And then Ice Bear is just funny as hell. Sasquatch I remember being funny as hell. This show was nice. Wizards of Waverly Place is a lot worse than people will remember it. I'm gonna say that this is a meh tier. And then Zoe 101. I wish she didn't get pregnant, man. She would have been so good for this show. This show should have been a lot longer, but for the fact that it only lasted like 2 seasons or something like that, and then she got pregnant, I was maybe even 1 season. I don't remember how long it took before the show got canceled. I'm gonna put that in a nice tier, but it could have been a lot higher. It could have honestly gone into great tier easily. So that is the complete tier list. Wow, we have gone through a ton of shows. There is a lot in never seen. I don't know. If you guys have seen this ones and you want to tell me off about it for putting in there, it's like, oh my gosh, haven't you seen it? By all means, tell me that. So that is the complete list. So let me know what you guys think of the list in the comments below. Try and link everything in the description. I honestly don't remember exactly what I've said throughout this whole thing. I'm going to be completely honest with that. But thank you guys so much for watching. And I appreciate you guys for supporting me. And I will see you guys next time. Peace.